Welcome to another video here on Ty Drives. My name is Ty, sitting behind the camera, and in front of us is the 2024 Audi SQ5. Now this one is in the Premium Plus trim with the classy Daytona gray paint, and we don't have the black optic package, which means we have a nice amount of bright work on the exterior of this car. Notable packages and features on this particular one are the S Sport package, giving it the adaptive air suspension, as well as the sport rear differential and red brake calipers. And then we also have the fine Napa leather seating as far as some notable features on this particular car. But let's get right into the features, starting on the exterior. We'll then pop the hood, check out what's under there, and then also get an exhaust clip because this car does sound pretty good. Also check out the trunk, see how much room we have going on back there for any cargo. Then we'll check out the interior, starting with the rear seats, and move forward to the front seats, and we'll get a good idea of all of the features on this car. Now, one more thing I wanted to say to you is check my channel, because we'll be taking this car for a first-person POV drive, kind of put it through its paces. So if you're interested in that, definitely check my channel, Ty Drives, for that video. Well, let's get straight into it here with the headlamps, which are full LED powered. So we have turn signals, daytime running lights, high and low beams are all powered by LEDs. Taking a look down here, we have a good bit of bright work surrounding a parking sensor, which, by the way, we do have parking sensors in the front, and also your adaptive cruise control sensors in there. Good amount of bright work on the grille too. Very nice styling with this front grille. Definitely a very classy specification for this SQ5, I should say. Our Audi rings are right here, and just below we have one of 4 cameras for the 360 view on this car, and we do have our SQ5 badging, of course. Taking a look at our hood, we almost have a clamshell hood design, meaning it comes down pretty far towards the wheel well, but we do have some pretty cool creases, and that leads me down to these beautiful 20-inch wheels, which are actually the standard wheel choice on an SQ5. Yeah, wheels this good looking actually come standard on the SQ5, so we have kind of this machine face of the wheel and this kind of bright painted gray color on the inside. We also have some pretty beefy brake calipers painted in red thanks to the S Sport package, and our tires measure 255/45. Bright work surrounding the windows, on our roof rails, and even on the mirror cover, so we have kind of a classy look down the side. I really do like the look of this SQ5. Lots and lots of Audis nowadays are coming with black optic packages, but we finally have a nice classy one to take a look at. Now, as far as our mirrors go, we do have LED turn signal indicators. We also have the mirrors below for the 360 view, and also blind spot indicators on the inside of the mirrors, so it's a little bit easier to see. All 4 door handles have the smart key entry system, meaning you could just tap your finger on this little indentation on the door handle to lock all the doors, and then put your hand behind the handle to unlock. And again, that goes for all 4 doors. Now, the window sticker on this car is showing a $69,290 sticker price. And we can see, as far as optional extras, you can see the S Sport package. We also have the Sport exhaust tips. So most SQ5s will come with kind of imitation exhaust tips, meaning they're not real, but this one has real, genuine exhaust tips. A little bit of an option. But then we also have the fine Napa leather seats and a couple of different odds and ends there too. See again the rear door handle with the smart key entry. And back here we have a nice sizable spoiler back here for the SQ5 with some extensions, your shark fin antenna, your third brake light, and third wiper back here. And take a look, we have full LED lights back here for the rear too. So we have our tail lights, turn signals, and brake lights are all LED illuminated, and our turn signals have that very cool sequential design. SQ5 badging, as well as the Audi rings. Lots of bright work back here too, just below our taillights, going the width of the trunk lid. And also down here, surrounding our real exhaust tips. Take a look at that. Those are real, I can promise you that. So they do make that option. We'll definitely get a listen to the roar of this V6 because it does sound pretty good. We of course have our trunk release reversing camera below the Audi rings, parking sensors in the rear, and it's a pretty darn good looking exterior for the SQ5. Now this SQ5, this generation of SQ5 has been out since 2018 with a refresh. This is the refresh one. But let me get your thoughts on the styling. Let's see what you think. Let me know in the comments. Under the hood of the SQ5, we have a 3-liter turbocharged V6. Good for 349 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. So this is definitely the hot Q5. All that comes hooked up to an 8-speed torque converter transmission and the Quattro all-wheel drive, of course. Good amount of sound deadening underneath the hood on the firewall, but for the most part, they want you to hear this V6, which is very neatly packaged inside of the engine bay. So of course the Q5 has a powered liftgate and a very nice large opening due to the clamshell design. So you can definitely fit some larger items in there and some taller ones too, since this is not the Q5 Sportback. This is the regular traditional Q5 design, or SQ5 I should say. Taking a look back here, obviously plenty of space. We can also fold down the rear seats at a 60-40 split. But then we also have a center pass-through too, which is pretty nice. We have these handles here where we can fold down the seats too. Also some buttons here where we can raise and lower the air suspension in case you have something heavy and you want to reduce the lift height of the trunk. We have these LED light strips to either side. Also tie downs in each corner. Grocery bag hanger right here. We have these pretty cool net pockets also to either side to kind of strap some things in. And we also have a 12-volt power outlet under there. Under our cargo floor, you can see we do have a spare tire with an inflation kit. Once you're done in the trunk, we have two options. We could either lock all the doors and close the trunk with this button, or simply just close the trunk. Let's take a look at the rear of the SQ5, where we have a good amount of space back here and also very nice materials. So we'll start off up here at the door panel where we have soft touch, carbon fiber trim with a very nice door handle. We even have Alcantara down here in this very, very soft armrest with some leather and stitching. We have the 19 speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system on this car with a nice large storage pocket on the door pocket. Gorgeous seats with this Napa leather design. Diamond stitching here with the contrast stitching. Looks very, very rich and extremely smooth leather. Now you can fold down these seats at a 60-40 split with this lever right here. If you fold that, or if you press that lever there, the seats will kind of fold down to about here, and you can put them down the rest of the way and they'll actually lock in place so you can get larger items in there. You can also fold down the center pass-through with this little button right here next to the headrest. If you fold that down, it'll go nice and flat with the cargo floor. That way you can have some longer skinny objects go through the interior, and also have the option to have 2 passengers back here. And we also have an armrest, of course, that you can fold down with 2 mini size cup holders. Let's hop in quick and see how much room there is back here. And sitting behind myself, I'm about 5'10", and I actually scooted this seat back a little bit farther backwards than I would normally sit. So even so, I still have a good amount of leg room back here. Definitely a couple of inches. Nice little cutouts back here. You do have a couple of air vents too, with a temperature control when the car starts, and a couple of charging USBs with a 12-volt power outlet. A little bit of a larger drivetrain hump, but there definitely is enough space to have a 3rd passenger back here in a pinch. We do have lighting, grab handles, and a coat hook up there as well. And as you can see, the panoramic sunroof continues very, very nicely up here. Alright, we've kept you viewers in suspense long enough. Let's take a look at the main event, the driver's cockpit. Again, we have gorgeous trim over here with some carbon fiber, more suede and leather with some contrast stitching. A couple of more buttons up here with your lock unlock. You have 2-person memory seats for the driver's seat as well. Individual child locks, and they are actually powered too on the driver's door. All of our window switches and our mirror controls, which are power folding and heated. A couple of speakers on the driver's door, and just above the main speaker we have a release for the hatch. We also have a bit of storage on the front door as well. On the left of the dash we have some more carbon fiber trim, a very nice looking air vent, and all of our headlight controls right here. We have our all-weather lighting for the front and our rear fog lights. And we can also pop this little guy out here to adjust the gauge brightness. We also have this little toggle switch on the side of the steering column to power adjust it, so it's for tilt and telescoping. Pretty decent size storage area. Nice little spot to put your sunglasses, and it's all felt lined in there. Good looking sport pedals for the SQ5, and our hood release is right there as well. We have an illuminated S door sill actually on the side of the vehicle, which is pretty cool. And that brings me up to these gorgeous seats. Very nice looking sport seats for the SQ5. Our headrest is 4-way adjustable, so up, down, in and out. We also have the S logo on the backs of the seats. Gorgeous diamond stitching like you saw out back. And you can also adjust the thigh extension, so you can move this in and out right here. And we have, of course, full powered controls with 4-way lumbar. Now that we're seated inside the SQ5, you can see we have a pretty traditional interior layout with a few extra things such as your digital cockpit, a nice stand-up screen, carbon fiber trim too in here, but definitely a very nice layout, and you definitely know as soon as when you get in here where everything is. But here goes the key for the SQ5. We have a pretty traditional Audi key, lock, unlock, trunk release, panic alarm, and there's 2 buttons to either side towards the bottom, and you can pinch those simultaneously to get a physical key. And we also have the little S logo at the back for the SQ5. Push button start is right down here. And you do get a nice little sound of the V6 when you start it up. Now, as far as the steering wheel goes, we have kind of soft leather at the bottom and the top, some contrast stitching all the way around, and this kind of perforated leather at your 9 3 grips, which is pretty cool. All over here is your virtual cockpit settings, which we will go through in just a minute. And all of this has to do with your media and things like that. So we have the Bluetooth phone controls, voice commands, skip back and forth between your different radio stations, and the scroller wheel for your audio volume. Now, mounted to the back of the steering wheels are our nice little paddle shifters, obviously the plus and minus to either side. Do wish they were a little bit nicer for the SQ5, but that's quite all right. On the back of the steering wheel, mounted to the column, we have our turn signal stalk, as well as the automatic high beams, and also you can toggle on and off your lane keeping assist nice and quick. And we also have this lower stalk for our adaptive cruise control. On the other side, the other stalk is for the front and rear wipers. But let's take a quick dive into the virtual cockpit. Now, a couple of things to get over. First things first, we have our fuel gauge right up here, distance till empty right there. Down below, we have the tachometer, speedometer, and then we can also see the oil temperature there, as well as a boost gauge. But we can adjust what we see here with the little scroll wheel. So we can go down, see real-time and average consumption, short and long-term memory, an energy consumption screen with some tips to get better fuel economy. And then we also have the driver's state, so it'll kind of show you your fatigueness level and if you should stop and relax for a little while from driving. And then we also have a driver's assistance screen there too, which will display mainly your lane keeping assist functionalities. We can also go over using these top arrows to a audio screen where we can see what's playing in the center. Very nice looking screen there. And then we also have a phone screen. Now, if you were to get the built-in navigation package, you can get a full screen map up here too. But this particular SQ5 does not have that. So that is basically where we're at with the virtual cockpit. But at any time, you can press this nice big view button and your tachometer and speedometer will get bigger and the information you see in the center will get a little bit smaller. And that you can do within any screen within this gauge cluster, which is pretty cool. So very nice and configurable, but very easy to configure with this virtual gauges here. Upper dash is nice and soft to touch, and that brings me down to our touch screen. It is in a vertical kind of position here, so you definitely can't miss it, but that kind of gives more room for a nice design and your climate controls down below. But basically we have our home screen here, which will have shortcuts at the side, also 3 different segmentations too, so the radio, phone, and navigation there if you were to purchase the navigation. You can also swipe from the top to get your garage door openers, also your tone for the audio system. So lots of different customization for that. You can adjust the subwoofer independently from the bass. You can up the surround sound and also put it into a 3D effect, which is pretty cool. Back to a kind of jumbulation of all of your different apps, we can click on the audio screen where we can see all of your different Sirius XM channels. And we can also have a source button there. Back to home, we have media and phone, as well as navigation if you purchased it. Phone apps has to do with the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, which is wireless. We have a vehicle screen here, which you could select your driving modes, which you do have quite a few on the SQ5. We have off-road. Pay attention over here because the screens do change, and it'll also tell you when the adaptive air suspension is changing heights as well. So we have off-road, all-road, comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual, where you can customize a few different things there. Your drive, suspension, steering feel, and engine noise. So that's pretty cool. Now you can also manually control the air suspension too. You can raise or lower it with this little button there too. For right now, I think we're going to leave it into comfort mode, because when we do our test drive in the next video you're going to watch, we're going to bounce back and forth between comfort and dynamic. Over here we have a vehicle data screen, which is pretty cool. Kind of shows your inclination or steering angle, all that good stuff. More off-road settings there. We have an energy efficiency screen, seats, air conditioning settings, lighting and visibility screen as well, where you can adjust the interior brightness. All of our driver assistance functionalities can be either customized or turned on and off through this screen too. And once over, we have a settings and service button over there too. We do have a settings screen here. Once you purchase the vehicle, and go home, and we could kind of configure all of the different system settings, kind of make this SQ5 yours. And over here we have some other smaller things worth mentioning. You can definitely set up different users for the vehicle, so we could have you know, my settings, and then let's say my girlfriend's settings as well, so that you know, our settings are completely different, so we could have memory for those settings. Pretty neat. Different things, messages, different purchases, calendars, and also different themes you could purchase for the screen. That is pretty neat. That pretty much does it for our touchscreen. Just a basic overview, very easy to get used to, and a very nice looking setup too. In between our two air vents, we have the hazards button. Nice strip of carbon fiber that goes all the way into the passenger area, and just below that we have all of our climate control settings. So technically we have a 3-zone climate control because of the temperature in the rear, but it is of course automatic. As you can see, you just press these little circles in to make it automatic. We also have heated seats for the front people. Our defrosters over here, recirculating and turning the whole system off. And of course we could twist for your different temperatures. Right here we can select where the air comes out. And it is kind of like a touch sensitive button, so as you can see, the little guy in the picture gets a little bit bigger. Same with all of these buttons. That's pretty neat. AC settings right here. Fan speed right in the center, and our different zones. You can also adjust the rear zone too, which is pretty cool. Taking a look down below, we do have a small array of extra buttons too. Starting on the left hand side, we have our drive mode select. We can also turn on and off your auto start stop and the traction control. And we can also pull up the parking sensors and parking camera at any time with that button there. We have a hill descent and turning the main MMI screen on and off there as well. We have the start stop button just below, accented in red. A little storage tray right here, which is actually illuminated, and a USB charger with a 12-volt power outlet right next to it. Some more carbon fiber trim surrounding this massive panel of gloss black. Now, not the best decision on Audi's part to put gloss black down here where you're sliding your keys over, you know, you're moving the shifter around, you're releasing and activating a parking brake. This area is very prone to dust and scratches and things like that. So not the best area to put it in, but it definitely does look nice when it's new, I'll tell you that. A spot right here to put your keys or anything like that. We also have our electronic shifter. Now the way this works is we have a little side button here which we need to press in. And if you go straight up, that will bring us into reverse. Lots of different camera views on this car. Of course, the reversing camera will pop up first with your top-down view, but if you press this little tab button, we have all of your different camera views. So the front angle, the front wide angle camera. We also have a front camera view, the larger top-down view that changes over here into a parking sensors visual. We have the reversing camera, the wide angle reverse, and the front and rear wheels, so you can park nice and close to that curb. It's a pretty nice amount of camera views here. And we can press that same side button and bring it down into drive. Now, putting it down into drive just like that will continue along with whatever drive mode you selected with these buttons here. But if you bump it down once more, that will put the transmission into a sport mode. It will kind of hold the RPMs and kind of give you all the power you need all at once. Or you could bump it over, put it into manual mode, and you could shift down here with the shifter itself or with the paddle shifters attached to the steering wheel. And then at any time, we could just press the little P for park. And that will automatically bring the shifter over to its natural position. Nice little S logo down here, just like the one we see on the steering wheel. We also have our electronic parking brake, so just foot on the brake, press down to deactivate, and pick up to activate. One more thing over here with a nice little slot to put your car key right there, and a volume knob right there. Taking a look backwards more, we have a couple of cup holders and a very nice, smooth Napa leather covered armrest that is also height adjustable. Lifting that up, you have a bit of storage in there and a USB-C charger. Your passenger seat is, of course, power adjustable, and the dashboard in front of the passenger is very nice with the Quattro emblem, some bright work and more carbon fiber trim. We have a lockable glove box that opens up to reveal a good amount of space, some felt lining, a pen holder, and even some illumination. That brings us up to the top, where we have a full black cloth headliner. Our visors flip down and have a light and mirror. We also have a nice panoramic sunroof from this car, as you see from the rear, and we have two separate controls. This one is for the sunshade, so you can move it back like so, and this one will actually tilt or slide the glass portion of it. We have all of our lighting controls, SOS and informational buttons up here as well, and all of your lighting up here is kind of tap illuminated, which is pretty neat. And now that this sunroof is fully open, we have a huge view, and it definitely lightens up the interior quite nicely. One more thing worth mentioning is our nice frameless mirror with a compass, and it is auto dimming. But that pretty much does it for all of the features in this SQ5, and this one is pretty nicely loaded up. Definitely not the most loaded SQ5 I've ever seen, but it definitely has a nice amount of features that we checked out. But your next step in this video will be going over to my channel, Ty Drives, and checking out our first-person POV driving impressions of this car, where we put it through its paces. So at this point, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for watching, and I hope you stick with us here at Ty Drives for more videos just like this one.